Hello and welcome all to the Time Traveler's Tavern, where there's tales from it and other things. Yeah, I said things. Alright, I will be your navigator and captain, Deadpaw, taking you on this informative journey. Informative of what? We still don't know. But that's why we have our wonderful net guru and all-around frumpy, colorful commentary provided by my good friend Toast.
I'm closer to white bread than rye.
Fair enough. And over to the other side, we have Mr.E. Not as an ecstasy. It's more of a pun on mystery, not Mr. and E. Alright, Mr.E. in the studio with us today.
Indeed.
Alright, today we're going to go down a traveling line of science and fiction, or science fiction, or fictional science, and all that kind of good stuff.
I'm thinking I'm spinning my tires, so I hit it a little harder. Nothing. So throw it in reverse, try to rock it. Nothing. So I throw it in first, I'm like, fine. It's like, this is really annoying. So I just slam on the gas. And I hear, crack! And I mean, it is a loud crack. And the car lurches forward and stops. Ooh. I'm like, well, I just wrecked something. So I get out, I'm looking, I'm waiting to see, shards of metal. Nothing. I look back to where the car was, and I see a perfect replica of half my tire.
Ice.
In ice. The snap I had heard was it breaking the ice loose enough to actually get the tires moving.
Ah.
Put it back into gear, managed to creep out on the road. That car lasted another 6 to 8 months.
Okay. Real quick, I got two
That
more.
never happens.
Yeah.
Sorry,
First
in
off,
general.
have I ever talked to you guys while we were recording about my first ever driving experience?
Oh.
Okay.
You assume I listened to you.
We've not heard of your virgin voyage.
Virgin voyage. Thank you for that, Toady. Anyway.
My spectrum.
A friend of mine who, at the time he was my friend, he is no longer, but that's a different story for another time that I will probably never share, at least not on air.
Oh!
He decides that
on cocaine.
I have been too long without a license or any driving experience since about the age of 15, and I was 19, I believe. So he said, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to drive to a spot that you're familiar with, and you're going to drive there. Pick somewhere that has no traffic. And I said, no traffic is in virtually nothing? And I said, and he says, yes. And I said, okay, well, let's go out to Highway 26. Got family out there, and there's virtually no one ever on the road. He's like, sounds good. So we go out to Highway 26. Well, lo and behold, there happens to be traffic. Now, the intent is that off of Highway 26 is Zor Road, where a large portion of my family lives, on my father's side. I know I've got the turn coming up, I just don't know exactly where, because we're approaching from the north. I'm used to approaching from the south. So I know the turn's coming, but I don't know exactly where it is. I've got a guy right on my ass, and I've got a guy ahead of me. Well, the guy ahead of me keeps going, but the guy behind me isn't letting up. And the guy whose car we're in says, just tap the brakes to let him know you have the intention of stopping soon. He'll back off. And I tapped the brakes and he didn't back off. And the turn snuck up on me. So before I even have the thought of turn the turn signal on, I cranked the wheel at 55 miles an hour on a 90-degree turn.
I'm guessing it didn't go well.
Actually, it went far better than you could expect. Because what happened was, this is an Aries, by the way. Dodge Aries.
I was going to say, I thought we were going back to the astrological for a moment.
No, it was a
Here's
Dodge.
your sign.
It was a Dodge Aries, a green Dodge Aries, circa 1981, I believe. And I put this vehicle on two wheels. My two wheels, driver's side.
One would assume from a right-hand turn.
And then the driver's side door pops open while it's on two wheels. And I'm not wearing a seatbelt because I'm a dumbass and I'm a teenager. And so, thanks to the perfectly working dome light, I can see the road going by a lot closer than you would ever expect to.
I don't know, I was thrown from a moving vehicle, so I can expect and see it quite close.
I have a photograph of me hanging out of a van doing 80 trying to grab a traffic cone.
You have a photograph of this?
Yeah, the guy who was holding onto my left hand was taking a picture with his right. No, sorry. He was holding onto my left with his right, taking a picture with his left.
I remember pushing a truck out of getting stuck in the snow, and we skied behind it for at least a block.
It's fun. I've done that.
Yeah,
Don't do that, kids.
I'm familiar with that, but not in a truck. Anyway, so in one...
What was her name?
Excuse me a moment.
Ow. Fine, his name.
Anyway,
Thank you for the cough drop.
for what that's worth, in one swift motion, I managed to reach over very calmly. I don't know how I managed to do this calmly, but I managed to reach over with my left hand and grab a hold of the door. I still have a white knuckle grip on steering wheel with my right hand, and I gently jerked.
Gently jerked.
I gently jerked.
What's his name?
The wheel 1 inch.
That's all it had to give you, huh?
That's all I had to give it to make it go on all 4 wheels
Was it
again.
an import car?
And close the door in one swift motion. Me moving, jerking, and pulling the door all in the same motion closes the door and puts the vehicle on all 4 wheels again. I stop about 20 feet after that. Get out of the vehicle. Up until I got to the trunk of the vehicle, I was fine. I put my hands on the trunk of the vehicle and start shaking because I couldn't believe that I had actually survived. And the next thing I said to my friend was, "And you're driving?" And he said, "Yeah." But he also said, "How?" How what? How did you do that without killing us?
Sheer luck.
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't know.
Many worlds theory.
But yeah, no, like I've had a lot of fun experiences in my little car. And for this one, I would proudly promote and have us sponsored by, if it ever gets out to them. It's a little Kia Spectra. I really love this little car. I still have it. I just don't have money to drive. But it is a lovely little car. And it is quicker than anyone would ever give it credit.
Yeah, I mean, that thing's doesn't have a really big engine in it either.
It's
I mean,
a 2-liter 4-cylinder
Yeah.
with a 5-speed manual.
Yeah.
And it gets up and it goes. But yeah, it's a fun little, it's feisty little car that looks like it should be driven by only women. Because it is this powder blue, sky blue, depending on the day, gray car.
So in other words, you really are gay.
But it's so lovely! It matched my purse.
And your boots.
And your
Shut up about my boots.
And that belt you had to get to accessorize.
Well, obviously, but shush.
Does it match the tinsel you occasionally put on your beard?
I've never tinseled my beard.
Incorrect. For the captain costume?
That is not tinsel, that is steel.
What do you think? What do you think tinsel's made of?
Yeah.
This is manly steel.
It's old English tinsel.
Yeah, it's a nice little car, and I've put that through way more than it ever had any responsibility or right to be in.
Gave it everything back with a smile.
Basically,
Okay, so I got one other story, and it isn't mine. It's actually my father's, and I may have told this one already. You had mentioned before things that they never prepare you for in driver's ed.
Yeah, like the invasion of the British.
it was an interesting day. We had tea. They were out of scones, and crumpets are just not in
I
anymore.
was gonna say you had tea and strumpets.
He was a strumpet. Something about that accent. It's not accent. It's accentuating.
I say she had a Hyundai.
It was right-hand drive.
Well,
Well, her left one was busy.
Apparently, he's dating a handmaiden that brews tea in her person. Anyway,
She's known as Bruce T.
oh my God.
It's a little bit salty.
I thought it was Jenner, but to each their own.
Hey, leave Caitlin out of this.
That explains so much about you. I thought you had interest in somebody else. More musical type.
I'm trying to think where you're going with
SPG.
that. Oh. Leave Bunny out of this.
Sounds like an imaginary friend.
I've got Bunny.
I don't
Drop it
know.
now.
Porque?
Because
I don't know. If I didn't know and she was walking down the street, my head would have turned.
Bunny.
Actually, knowing my head probably turned.
Bunny or Jenner?
Bunny.
Okay.
Well, come on. I'm over 40. You never know.
I'd go the route of Bunny before Jenner way
Oh,
sooner.
come on. At her age, Jenner looks really good.
At any age, no.
Apparently she
doesn't.
posed nude recently.
Oh my God.
I mean, you got to think about it. I'm over 40. How old Jenner got to be?
60
I was going to say approaching 60 or beyond.
Okay,
It's 60 something.
so for a 6-year-old anything, to be able to be on cover of magazines and out of the corner of your eye you turn and think it's something worth looking at first, all those years of tennis camp must have done good.
The thing that bothers me is that you have women out there who always got made fun of for being bodybuilders, like the WWE wrestler Chyna.
Who's dead.
Who's recently deceased.
she's 67.
See?
Not Johnny
Johnny.
Lauer.
See?
Wait, you know, that's her actual name?
Johnny Lauer? Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't know that?
I did not.
Really?
I did not.
I've known that for a while.
And you watch wrestling.
I say I'm not a huge wrestling fan, and I knew that.
I don't watch wrestling.
I watched
You're
wrestling.
confusing me with Pineapple. We should call him that from now on, by the way.
No, he
I
watches
watched-
real wrestling opposed to the local, homebrew stuff.
Stop
It'll
it.
put a smile on your
No,
face.
stop it, both of you.
You're just
I
making
know,
me all
no,
frowny
I know
now.
where you're going. Stop it, both of you.
Don't have to. I'm in my own house.
To say, it's
But
not like we're
you
going
will
to-
be creating an editing nightmare for me, and I do not want to deal with it.
Look at how much I care by the
JD
expression
by
on my
Ryder.
face.
This is no an editing nightmare would be if we go through and just casually intersperse some cursing, like you've done.
Yes.
Not too bad. Actually, this episode I've been very good. Haven't
Whack.
I? Have I not?
But no. I used to watch wrestling
Ah, my
years
spirit's
ago, and
Keep it in your pants.
I stopped when it just got too absurd.
But what I'm saying about that is that
I miss Glow.
the professional wrestler formerly known as China, now known as the deceased, did have features that could be mistaken for being mildly mannish.
Masculine
Yes.
is the vernacular that
Yes.
you're looking for.
Yes.
And family. Well, see, I actually got into a conversation about this recently.
Okay.
When you think about it, when you get down to it, there are traits that are found attractive cross gender.
Okay.
Cheekbones, both are prominently high and prominent cheekbones. Eyes have very similar structure. You know, same thing with sometimes like jaw lines, and the chin is where it separates.
Okay.
But a lot of the things that you find attractive in a woman are also masculine traits.
Okay.
And it goes the other way too.
Okay.
And problem is, everyone's way too homophobic and insecure to actually realize that the traits that are attractive are cross-gender.
I'm not sure I entirely agree with you.
I'm not saying she looks like a dude,
Yeah, we're not going
But-
Aerosmith's dude looks like a lady scenario.
but the traits and the structure is actually very similar for the people that you find attractive on a given day.
Interesting. I guess I could see it, but I don't know. I guess I don't specifically go for the face.
That man with the childbearing hips.
Wasn't you?
Leave me out of this.
You have hips?
Oh baby, they don't stop. They don't
They're
lie.
in a
either.
drawer next to his other body parts.
I was gonna say.
I mean, these legs gotta end somewhere.
Yeah, at your neck.
I'd look great in a pencil skirt.
Especially since you're effectively a human pencil. Is
I
this
am
some
not.
sort of metaphor for fallacy?
No, wasn't going there.
Yeah, for one, he's not bald.
I'm a dust mop.
Not touching that.
I mean, if he had a hairy chest and a bald head, then yes, but...
It's very simple. It's very simple. A very apt description is, I've just got these lovely long dancer's legs. Unfortunately,
Anyway.
I'm a guy.
Shall we go back on topic?
We had a topic?
Wheelchair bound on 4th of July.
No.
Just because I apparently look/dress like a Vietnam vet means nothing.
Just because I have a picture of you dressed like a Vietnam vet in a wheelchair doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that happened.
For the other, here's where I left off. And for the other group, I say simply, stop wiring money to people. It doesn't matter how elaborate the cover story is. Now, again, this is one where I'm sitting here going, at the point where this guy said wiring money, because that was the other thing, is that whatever line this guy was using had terrible coverage. Absolutely terrible coverage.
He was
Because
in Jamaica, Mom.
well, I could only assume because of the fact that none of this was working out right on top of the filter he was using. Because I mean, being that I grew up in radio, I can pick out a lot of times when people are not using their normal speaking voice or when they're not using what
that
is
note-
commonly their own
On
voice.
that note, what is my normal speaking voice? I don't even know.
Actually, you're pretty close to where you normally are.
So speaking of growing up in radio, how big was this? Was it a 1, 2, 3 bedroom radio, or
It was at least 2-bedroom,
Wow.
1 bath.
Just wow.
did you have to unplug it when you used the bathroom, or was there plumbing included? I know there's tubes in
You know,
radio.
I'm going
Vacuum tubes.
I'm
That's
going
all
to
it is.
buy a brand new toaster just for you, along with an extension cord, and I will wait till you shower. Knock it off!
But everything's GFI now.
Wait, you're gonna wait for him to shower?
Hey!
I don't know. Going back to this, because I've interviewed thousands of victims during the past 2 decades, I've often asked why people fall for scams or corporate ripoff. Here's my top 5 reasons people are stupid. Now, people are stupid is in quotation marks, and I find it interesting because of, I know it's a book series you were familiar with. I don't know if you're familiar with. Are you familiar with the Sword of Truth novel series?
Books bad, learning bad.
There's also a TV series.
Yeah.
Sword of Truth?
Secret.
Seeker. Okay.
Legend
I
Seeker.
did watch The Seeker.
Legend Legend of the Secret kind of was a glaze over, not really good
But-
coverage of the story.
I did enjoy it, and it had some really good songs.
Okay.
It had a very good good soundtrack.
But
I'm trying to remember the guy who played Wizard. Bruce. I can't remember my last name.
Jenner?
No, not tall enough.
Which looks really good for 67 years old.
in the book series, The Sword of Truth, or the Sword of Truth novel series, the first book in the series is called The Wizard's First Rule. And the Wizard's First Rule is, people are stupid. Now, in the specific context of the book, what it means is that people will believe a lie as the truth either because they want it to be true or because they fear it is. Now, I can say for fact that I gained employment for about 3 months using the Wizard's First Rule.
I apparently am smart.
Don't pee on the toilet seat when you whiz?
I
Oh, that's the key for marriage. I'm sorry.
That's the wizard's first rule.
yeah, hey,
Don't tug on Superman's cape?
I walked into an employer and said, "Hi, I'd like to check up on my application." I'd never been there before in my life. I was dressed for an interview though, and they said, "Oh, well, okay, let's. I'll talk to our HR person. Why don't you just take a seat over there?" Talk to the HR person. The HR person comes out and says, "Hi, unfortunately, you can't find your application on file. Would you mind filling out another one?" "Oh, sure, I guess. I got no problem with that. I got time." And so I filled it out. Before I was done filling out this application, they were already making an appointment for me to go for a drug screening. I basically barely got interviewed and was given employment for, as I said, 3 to 4 months.
So the reason I say I'm apparently smart, because I don't believe anything.
Yeah.
I'm a skeptical, cynical jerk.
You're fat, too.
Okay, he was telling truth. You just threw that out there
There's
for
a mirror for you.
reasons
I'm a Buddha.
Because this is radio. He could be a horse for all they know. And we could have a carrot and never mind.
Yeah, stop it. I imagine all the directions you can go with that, and none of them are appropriate.
Mr. Ed?
That's why just
Indeed.
not.
I was going to say, he's the one that went there and they're all inappropriate. Mine were fine. I was thinking Mr. Ed.
BS. How do you think they made him talk?
Peanut butter.
No, you'd talk
That's
that
for
way.
dogs. Wait, what?
All right, so on that wonderful note of fact, validation, and verification, any other shuns we should add to here? No? All right. Skipping over his thoughts here, we're going to farm this out, and Mr.E, would you like to bid adieu?
Until
Say
next time.
There you go. A good web guru toast. What? Parting words.
If you're using a comb, make sure you go the right direction.
That would be a good parting word. All right, and this is Captain, not of a Boeing, just of a dead paw. Thank you for joining the, what is this? Tales from the Time Traveler's Tavern? Apparently that's what we are. Thank you for joining. So that's it.